my absolute favorite book for piccolo, for alternate fingerings, trill fingerings, etc. And that is The Complete Piccolo by Jan Gippo. Jan Gippo was the longtime piccolo player for the St. Louis Symphony. It starts out with all the fingerings, all the traditional primary fingerings from low D, and it actually goes all the way up to high D sharp. And I hope we never ever need that. But it's really great. It lists, with all the alternates, it lists things like, it'll give the alternate fingering and then it'll say, this one's slightly sharp, very bright, might be of use, or slightly flat but good for blending. And I've gone through, I see some of my notes, like I'll circle a fingering. There's one for the high G that I have circled and I have penciled in Os Italien. I like to use that one for the Strauss tone poem. Or sometimes a specific piece is printed in here. It's mentioned like a high A fingering. It gives the traditional fingering and then, I don't know, 6 others. And it says for one of these alternate fingerings that it's slightly flat, but it's good for loud attacks. Used for ensemble tuning, blah, blah, blah. Good for the end of Shostakovich's Symphony No. 5. And then it goes on to trill fingerings. And as you go up, like the D to E natural trill, it'll say under an alternate fingering that it's bright, good for soft attacks and sustained notes, but be careful on hard attacks, you know, etc. So the descriptions of each alternate fingering are really where this book is excellent. And then since this is by Jan Gippo, it has the famous Jan Gippo trill, the high G to A natural trill, which is very difficult on the piccolo if you do not have the high G to A facilitator trill key that goes along with the C sharp lever. A lot of piccolos don't have that, and the G to A trill is just famously difficult. But the best fingering for that trill without the GA facilitator is listed in this book, and it's now called the Jan Gippo trill. And the high A to B natural trill, which is in Mahler 1, that's such a difficult trill, but there's a great trill fingering here. It's actually the primary trill fingering, but it's good to see it here. Okay, so that's the best part of the book, I think. After that, it does have a chapter on the history of the piccolo. Also, there's a chapter on piccolo repertoire. Piccolo alone, you know, piccolo and piano, several pages of that. Piccolo with strings, piccolo with winds, even piccolo with percussion. And then also a listing of piccolo method books. Oh yeah, and then it's got an entire chapter on piccolo solos with band. This is really, I think, the one and only book you need for fingerings for piccolo. And then of course you have all that bonus stuff at the end with the listing of rep and the history of the piccolo, etc.